Sharam, I want to thank you for helping to organize this people's demonstration, and I'm delighted to be here in solidarity with the people of Iran, in solidarity with the struggle for human rights in Iran, in solidarity with political prisoners in Iran, and as your signs so eloquently put it, to put an end to the culture of impunity in Iran. Indeed, we meet at an important, indeed historic moment of remembrance and reminder. We meet on the occasion of the 29th anniversary of the mass murder of 30,000 Iranian dissidents. We meet also on the occasion of the eve of Iranian Political Prisoner Day, established by unanimous resolution by Canada, by the Canadian Parliament, of which I was pleased to be a supporter of that resolution, where Canada became the first country in the world to unequivocally condemn the mass murder as a crime against humanity. Let me quote from the resolution at the time: that this House condemns the mass murder of political prisoners in the summer of 1988 as a crime against humanity, honors the memory of the victims buried in mass graves in Kavaran Cemetery and other locations in Iran, and establishes September 1st as a day of solidarity with the political prisoners in Iran. And as you recall, the Ayatollah Montazeri last year implicated the leaders of Iran in that mass murder at the time, one of whom went on to become the Minister of Justice in Iran, Mustafa Pur Muhammadi, so that the person who should be standing trial is the person who became the Minister of Justice. A time to put an end to this culture of impunity in Iran once and for all. And so let me close with certain specific recommendations. Number one, the Canadian government, in concert with the international community, should establish an international tribunal along the likes of the Rwandan Tribunal or the Tribunal for Former Yugoslavia to bring the perpetrators to justice once and for all. Number two, Canada co-sponsors the UN General Assembly resolution on human rights in Iran every year. This year, we should include express reference to combating the culture of impunity, to ending this statute of where there's no statute of limitations, and to bring the perpetrators to justice, and mainstream accountability throughout the system in the United Nations for perpetrators of crimes against humanity. Number three, we must call on the Iranian regime to put an end to the wanton executions. Iran, as you know, executes more people per capita than any other country in the world. In 2017 alone, it has already executed more than 400 people, and that's whom we know about. And so, another requirement, an end to the wanton executions in Iran. Number four, a call for the release of political prisoners in Iran, many of whom are also tortured in detention, some of whom themselves face execution. I want to mention three groups, because these are groups that I happen to represent as their legal counsel, and our Raoul Wallenberg Center for Human Rights has taken up their case and cause. First, the imprisoned leaders of the Baha'i community, now in their 9th year of imprisonment, a callous criminalization of innocence. Two, Saeed Malikpour, a permanent Canadian resident, an Iranian Canadian who went to Iran to visit his ill family, was arrested, tortured, in detention, falsely securing a convention. He has to be brought back home, reunited with his family. And finally, a person whom we don't hear enough about, but a great hero in Iran. I'm talking about the Ayatollah Bourjedi, who's in turn endured 10 years of imprisonment, 10 years of torture in imprisonment, still under house arrest. The person who stood up for freedom of religion in Iran, the person who stood up for separation of religion and state in Iran, the person who stood up for freedom of minorities in Iran. We have to secure his release and allow him to be reunited with his colleagues and with his family as a free man. And finally, we need to put an end to the massive domestic repression in Iran, an end to repression against women, an end to repression against minorities, religious, cultural, ethnic, and the like, an end to the imprisoning of human rights defenders who stand up for political prisoners, an end to the imprisonment of lawyers who bravely defend these political prisoners. In a word, an end to the massive human rights violations. And so we come here, and I close with this, we are here in solidarity with the people of Iran. This is a pro-Iranian demonstration. This is a demonstration. This is a demonstration in respect of the great Iranian civilization. This is a demonstration for the struggle for human rights in Iran. This is a demonstration for the release of political prisoners in Iran. This is a demonstration for the end of the culture of impunity of Iran. And so a free Iran with freed political prisoners will then be able to make its great contribution to the international struggle for human rights and freedom. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. Great speech.
Justice for massacre of 88 in Iran.
Stop torture and execution 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 in Iran.